Have you ever wondered if vampires could have been real? If so, where did this belief originate? Our quest for answers transports us back to the dawn of civilization, to the fertile plains of Mesopotamia, the birthplace of the Sumerians, and the likely origin of the vampire mythos. In a world where the line between reality and myth was thin and blurred, the Sumerians etched their beliefs into clay tablets with cuneiform inscriptions. Among these ancient tales, the figure of Lilitu emerges. A nocturnal demoness, she haunts the shadows of the night, her bat-like wings a symbol of the darkness she embodies. Lilitu seduces unsuspecting men, draining their life force, a characteristic that echoes through time in the vampire archetype we recognize today. The Sumerians, a civilization that thrived from around 4,500 to 1900 BCE, were pioneers in many aspects of culture and society. Their rich legacy includes a pantheon of divine beings known as the Annunaki, powerful, godlike figures associated with the heavens and earth. Among these deities, An, the sky god, and Enlil, the god of wind and storms, were the most prominent. The Sumerians, one of the earliest known civilizations, had a rich cosmology that included divine beings known as the Annunaki. This ancient civilization, flourishing between 4,500 and 1900 BCE, has left a profound legacy that echoes through the corridors of time, influencing modern culture and belief systems. However, the Sumerians' most intriguing contribution lies within their intricate mythology, where we encounter the powerful, godlike figures of the Anunnaki. In the Sumerian worldview, the Anunnaki were not just gods, but architects of the universe. They held dominion over various aspects of life, from fertility, agriculture, to warfare and justice. Among their ranks, An, the sky god, and Enlil, the god of wind and storms, held the highest positions of power. These celestial beings were seen as the puppeteers, pulling the strings of nature and society from their heavenly abode. The relationship between the Anunnaki and humanity is deeply rooted in the Sumerian creation myth. The Enuma Elish, a Babylonian epic with striking parallels to Sumerian cosmology, portrays humans as beings created to serve the gods. This creation was not an act of divine benevolence, but a necessity. Humans were fashioned from the earth's clay by the goddess Ninhursag and Enki, the god of wisdom and water, to alleviate the gods' labor. This narrative, while distinct from the biblical account, shares a common theme of humanity's deliberate crafting by divine entities. However, mainstream historical and archaeological consensus do not support these interpretations. The Anunnaki, like all gods and creatures in Sumerian mythology, are seen as symbolic figures within the cultural and religious framework of the Sumerians and later Babylonians. These myths serve to explain the natural world, human existence, and the intricate relationships between gods and mortals. But what about vampires? Where do they fit into this picture? If the Anunnaki were the creators, did they also fashion the vampire? Could these nocturnal creatures be a product of divine design, or perhaps a divine mistake? The Sumerians saw the Anunnaki as powerful deities that shaped the world. But where do vampires fit in this picture? The Sumerians believed that humans were created by the Anunnaki. Could these divine beings also be the creators of vampires? As we delve deeper into the Sumerian creation myth, this question takes on intriguing dimensions. The Sumerians' creation narrative, reflected in the Babylonian epic Enuma Elish, tells of humans being molded from the earth's clay by the goddess Ninhursag and Enki, the god of wisdom and water. A divine act, no doubt, but one that echoes the narratives of many other ancient cultures. Now let's take a leap of imagination. If the Anunnaki had the power to create humans, could they not also have created other beings, perhaps beings of the night, thirsting for the life force of humans? Beings that we, in our modern context, identify as vampires? Remember Lilitu, the nocturnal demoness from Sumerian mythology we spoke of earlier? Could such creatures have been a part of the Anunnaki's creation? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Mainstream historical and archaeological consensus does not support these interpretations. The Anunnaki, according to scholars, were mythological figures within the cultural and religious framework of the Sumerians and later Babylonians. Their myths serve to explain the natural world, human existence, and the relationships between gods and mortals. Yet the allure of the unknown beckons us to speculate. Could the vampire, with its primal allure and perilous sensuality, be a failed experiment by the Anunnaki? or perhaps an intentional creation, a being designed to inspire fear, respect, or even worship. Such musings take us into the realm of speculative history, a place where evidence gives way to conjecture and facts blur into myths. It's a thrilling journey, one that encourages us to question, to imagine, and to explore the mysteries of our past. The idea that vampires could have been created by the Anunnaki is a fascinating speculation, but remember, this is not a widely accepted theory. Even so, it's a theory that stirs the imagination, inviting us to question our understanding of the world and the creatures that inhabit it. Let's delve deeper into Sumerian culture and their beliefs about vampires. The Sumerians, with their rich tapestry of myths and legends, painted an intricate picture of the world around them. Their conception of vampires, or what we perceive as vampires, was likely influenced by these narratives. The vampire-like figure of Lilitu, for instance, was a nocturnal predator, a seductress who drained the life force from men. This, however, was not a mere tale of horror. It was a cautionary tale warning the Sumerians of the dangers of succumbing to desire and temptation. Lilitu was not a solitary figure in Sumerian mythology. There were other beings with similar characteristics. The Ekimu, for instance, were malicious spirits that wandered the earth. Unable to find rest in the afterlife, they were known to feed off the life force of the living, causing disease and misfortune. These entities, however, were not vampires in the sense we understand them today. They were not immortal beings, nor did they transform their victims into their kind. Instead, they were spirits or demons, manifestations of the Sumerians' fears and anxieties. The Sumerians also believed in the existence of the Utuku, spirits of the deceased, who could return to the world of the living. These spirits, depending on their nature in life, could either be benevolent or malevolent. The malevolent Utuku, akin to the Ekimu, were believed to cause harm to the living. These tales, woven into the fabric of Sumerian culture, reflected the society's understanding of life, death, and what lay beyond. They were a mirror to their beliefs about morality, the soul, and the afterlife. So vampires, as we understand them today, might have been seen very differently by the Sumerians. They were not creatures of the night hiding in the shadows, but instead they were cautionary figures, embodiments of the consequences of immorality and the fear of the unknown. They were a part of the Sumerians' intricate cosmology, intertwined with their understanding of the world, both seen and unseen. From ancient Mesopotamia to modern day, the vampire has remained a persistent figure in our collective imagination. This enduring fascination has seen the vampire evolve and adapt, reflecting the changing times and societies in which it is portrayed. The ancient demoness Lilitu, with her bat-like wings and life-draining abilities, is a far cry from the charismatic and often romanticized vampires of today's popular culture. The vampire archetype has been molded and reshaped over centuries, reflecting societal fears and uncertainties. The vampiric figures of medieval Europe, for instance, were often associated with disease and death, symbolizing the mysterious and deadly plagues that ravaged communities. Victorian literature, on the other hand, portrayed vampires as sophisticated and alluring, embodying fears about sexuality and moral decline. In the modern era, vampires have taken on a multitude of forms, from the monstrous creatures of horror films to the romantic heroes of young adult novels. They have become a versatile symbol, representing everything from our deepest fears to our wildest fantasies. They can be villains or heroes, monsters or misunderstood outcasts, but they always captivate our imagination. In the realm of science, the vampire myth has spurred interest in the study of rare medical conditions that mimic vampiric traits such as porphyria and catalepsy. This intersection of myth and medicine has further fueled our fascination with these mythical creatures. Despite their evolution, vampires continue to carry the essence of their ancient origins. The primal allure, the fear of the unknown, and the paradox of life and death that they embody are themes as old as humanity itself. Vampires, in their many forms, continue to serve as a mirror, reflecting our deepest fears and desires. Whether real or imagined, vampires have left an indelible mark on our culture and history. Their legacy is a testament to the power of myth and our enduring fascination with the unknown. As we continue to spin tales of these creatures of the night, one thing is certain: the vampire in all its forms is here to stay.